All right, so we're finally getting started on the good old red one here. We did Christmas, we did some New Year's stuff. Hopefully everybody had a good one. Just out here in my good old working uniform to try to keep warm. I gotta lay on the ground a little bit. I am waiting for some fittings to come in because we are replacing this right here with a better fitting. We might try to do something here with this yet, but we did get our oil changed. I got the fitting installed right here for the AEM gauge right out of the MPX housing. We have the large, I think it's like a 3001 oil filter installed along with some nice VR1 racing oil. All right. We got to work on getting this fitted up here a little bit nicer, and we're going to get these gauges installed. All right. So we have the dual pillar pod, which I set here in the car, courtesy of Modern. All right, now we don't have a pod pillar for this, so I'm gonna have to dig one out, and then I'll have to do the modification and actually get a cover mounted onto the pod. And we got to set these gauges up. Now, let's just check this one out here real quick. Let's get, I'm going to get this set up, and then I'll put you on the stand. As normal. Nice workbench here. So, all right. The center unit was in this. And this fluid gauge comes with different faces, all right. A wiring to install that. A AEM sticker. Some other stuff. And I opened this one upside down. I don't really get them right. So we're just unscrewing what holds the bracket on. Now sometimes you'll use these depending on what you're mounting these in. Okay, so we're gonna set this one up for our oil, all right, and it's already set up. These are both basically the same. So like I said, the center units are the same, the wiring's the same. But for example, they give you different covers here, all right, because they are a fluid gauge. I'll look and check the part number here real quick. All right. Now, all right, the number for the fluid gauge is it's 30-4401. All right. So what I'll do is I'll actually get this one set up. So they give you fuel pressure in white, fuel pressure in black, and oil pressure in white. Now, we're going to stay with black. Obviously, we have everything else set up that way. We're not going to use the silver trim ring. We're just keeping everything black. We're going to get this installed here. Okay, so these twist on, just like opening a soda bottle. That's the way to say it there. All right, that comes off. There's a plastic shield right there, okay? It's the inside. Rubber seal. And you're gonna take this out. I need something pointy. So, like if you, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but you can see how it's like white around those edges. This is what it should look like. So we have a protective coating. I'm just going to do this very gently. All right. So you can see. All right. So we have that off. there's notches, so you know how this goes in here. All right, so now it'll read fuel pressure. So we'll take this, flip it right upside down, get our seal down in. That doesn't have to line up really with anything. And snug it down. So we have this gauge will be set up for our fuel pressure. The other one's already going to come out of the package set up for oil pressure. So we'll be good to go for that. All right, I'm just going to set everything off to the side for this that I'm not going to use, which we don't need these. We don't need this. Hopefully we have room in this bag. And we're not going to use this either. I mean, this is kind of nice. Like if you actually use this, you can plug it in and then run the zip tie around there, and it'll help hold the plug in the back of the gauge, depending on what your installation is set up for. All right. So, ready to go. Let's get this other box opened up. Same deal, guys. Comes with everything the same. There's your sending unit, okay? Wiring harness is exactly the same number, so it's a 35305. So if you need one of these, I actually had to order one of these for an oil gauge that I'm installing in my car. A whole lot easier than buying a whole gauge because the fluid gauges are the more expensive ones. So, like I said, this one will already come set up for the oil. We won't have to change anything there. And since we're not going to be using any of this other stuff, we'll stick all of our information into here along with our stickers back into the box. Back into the box. And install all this back in here too. I don't know why the one sending unit was in this. This sending unit's in this bag. Everything's the same. It's just zip tied together. So this will be the sending unit we're going to use. Let this on here till you put it on. That way, make sure you don't get dirt, dust, or debris. If you got a dirty environment, it's usually pretty good. Keep that like that. So we'll take this, put it down in there. That rubber seal, like I guess if you have this slid in, you could actually put it on here if you needed to. Sometimes if they don't seem tight enough when they go in, I'll wrap 1 or 2 times around, maybe 3 times with some electrical tape, and it'll tighten it up and they'll stay in. The nice part is when they're like this, if you need to pull them out to plug them in or unplug them, it's pretty easy to do. All right, now that we have our gauges set up here, ready for install, let's just test these out here. So let's put fuel on the bottom. These are a little tight on here. These are both going to be the same size. I'm pretty sure I've come into this. So what I do is I'll sand these with some sandpaper. Just open them up very gently, making a full motion the whole way around. One more thing. These come with, this is the, I guess it's a shipping kit that comes with the filler. I've opened these up before and showed them in the videos. That way we don't damage our instructions. So let's open this up quick so you can see what it is. Right. So it tells you full pillar for all model gauge pods. All right. So basically, that is it. That's what you get. It tells you your A-pillar cover installs over the stock A-pillar, which we don't have, so I got to dig one of those out. There's no need to replace the stock pillar. It says for Dodge Ram with Infinity speaker, remove speaker from A-pillar, cut down, grind, raise speaker portion. That's stuff that we don't really have to worry about. It does tell you need a 3/16 drill bit. They give you, let's see how many push clips. Some of these I get are tan. This one here, what do we got? 4, 5, 6. So we got 6 of them in here. Normally I try to put them down here on these lower edges where they can't be seen and they get covered up, like here. I've seen some of these over the time. They'll actually, like this area will actually lift. So I'll probably put one here and in through here just to hold this, because it'll probably get a bunch of sun. All right, so a little 180 grit sandpaper in circles. We now can slide both of the gauges right down in here. Obviously, we'll need spun, but they're in. All right, so we have our pod pillar assembled to the stock. Notch these out. Used a 3/16 drill bit, and we installed the supplied pins. That stuff's all good to go. 3/16. I have a cutoff wheel. I set it somewhere. All right. I have one of these. I just used the cutoff wheel. I mean, you could use different things. You could try sawing through it. You could use, I mean, just use whatever you use. Just make sure you're careful you don't cut yourself. I kind of trimmed some stuff up and shaved it back a little bit with this, but very carefully with a knife, because you can, like I said, cut yourself. So this is ready to go. We have to run our wires. I'm still waiting for the fitting for the fuel so that I can hook that up, but we can take care of installing the wire for the oil. We can run that down. I show in some other videos how I actually get this stuff fed into the interior of the car. So I'll take this white plug, and I've already got the AFR gauge ran down through here, so I already have a hole through that, so I'll just feed this in that way, and we'll be done with the one gauge. But I can get the second one fed in, then we can get the gauges actually installed in the car while we're still waiting for our fitting, so that we can hook up the fuel line. All right, so back on the gauge install. The AEM oil pressure wiring is not long enough to reach the MPX oil filter housing. Somebody else had said something to me about that, but I even came out, tucked it down underneath, and stayed as low as I could to go across to get to it. Here's where we're going to be putting in our fuel. There. I have everything's run. It seems like there's a little bit of extra wiring here, but I did extend. I probably had to add 10 inches to the wiring. Soldered all that stuff, heat shrink tubed, bent all my wire, bent these all back, tied into the same power port. I put heat shrink crimpies on here. Got my gauges positioned correctly here. Everything is back together. I gotta get this installed, but I have to install a watt box harness on this yet. So we're almost there. Almost. All right. That, I guess you could say, pretty much finishes us up for the gauges. Let's take a look down here. I just want to show you where it runs across again. I didn't get this in here. The sending unit's in here. We got just enough room here for this to fit. I've seen gauges tapped in here also before, but it's just running across. And then I zip tied it to the power steering lines, and I'm running up through to where we need to be. All right, out in here for another cool day to try to get this done. They're calling for snow this weekend, So I'm trying to get this finished up today so I can do an idle and a real quick log. But we have all the gauges, they're finished to be installed. I did the same thing with the watt box harness, pushed it down through, we got it plugged in here. I have the shift light run up through. I know it is a mess in here, but we have everything just tucked right in there. It feeds through, and I hooked up the, it's kind of hard to see, it's nice and dark, but anyway, the little section in between for the clutch pedal sensor. So we have that hooked up. I'm going to run this up through and just tuck it in here, but I got to get this connected yet and seated in place. On a side note, when you're trying to install this onto put our light here, the 70, this is 60, 62 millimeter throttle body. All right, hopefully we can get down in here. I can see this. All right, so the aftermarket plug, this one here, I already shaved this backside for it to fit because I've had this problem. I'm not sure what brand TPS this is, but when I go to slide this on here, I'm only coming on so far, but hopefully you can see there on the other side of my thumb, it's actually contacting the throttle body housing. So I'm going to use my little fancy grinder here with a disc. All right. Okay, so the watt box, the plug, like I said, I just shaved it a little bit, pretty much similar to the way the OEM one I did when I put it in, okay, to make it fit. It's plugged in, that's good to go. I need to get a fitting for the sensor for the fuel fitting. I don't want to run it off the front here, so I'm going to get either a reducer here, and I'm looking to try to I still got to order these. I did order some. Let's check these out. I ended up ordering this one, and it's a 10. Okay, so I needed to go an 8 ORB to a 1/8. Now I found this. This right here to me would kind of be ideal, because 8 will go into the regulator, and then the 10 should go into the rail, and we have a nice port right here where we could have put our fitting for our sensor, and it would have been tucked down underneath. But I didn't take notice that this is NA and not ORB when I ordered it because I was in a hurry. Same with ordering this. I just seen that it reduced it down to 1/8, and I was like, man, that's what I need, but it's not. So I can't use any of this. So I guess it's just going to go back into the fitting pile. Maybe I'll need it, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll be able to pass these on to someone that can use them for something. But there they are. So we're on Amazon ordering some more fittings so that we can get the fuel line hooked up. So right now I'm at the point where this thing is ready to start up, and we're gonna cycle our key. Since we had fuel line stuff apart, we're gonna double check and make sure that we have no fuel leaks going on either here or in here, and we're gonna fire this thing up. I got to do a 5-minute log for the. Okay. Watt box is hooked up. The gauge is set. Let's check them out real quick. Now, there's your oil pressure. Now it's cold start. Fuel pressure is not going to show anything because there's no sending unit. It would just show 0. But you can see the vacuum gauge. The AFR gauge is actually reading good now at idle. It was really rich before, but that seems to be working out pretty good. I've got to let this thing warm up to temp, unhook the battery, clear the fuel trims. Then we got to do a 5-minute idle log with the HP tuner. I'll show you what some of that is if I can. And right in here, so it's eye level so you can see it. You set that up in your